today, Year of the Mecha is going to say goodbye to the Sega Saturn. It feels like we've been on this particular platform for ages. I'm not gonna lie, but I mean, like, it's not a bad one. Yeah, for like mecha games, it's like, I mean, like, there's Custom Robo, which got 2 entries, and at least one of them will be on this series later in the year. And then there was even some. We're not hearing Coolguy on the stream. Seriously, what the hell? Uh, yeah, and it's like I'm actually checking the yeah, because like hold on, I'm gonna try. Yeah, because it's like I looked at the audio mixer and like the separate like kind of slider monitor I have for Discord audio, which is when you talk, like it was turning on and off. So I don't know. I'm gonna I will just refresh it. Yeah, yeah, being really weird and getting banned for accidentally pulling like a huge like turning into a transphobic rant. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's weird. Yeah. 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 I'm gonna quickly I'll I think this will keep like the stream going, but I'm quickly just gonna turn off the recording and like check what is recorded on the VOD to see like if I still hear you in the recording, because Millennium still says like he's not hearing. Yeah. Yeah, I'm filling for time. It's no big deal. Let me check. Okay, so I guess there is something where it's like I have no idea what the fuck it is. Where I listened back to the one thing, it could be the track checkboxes in the OBS advanced audio setting for each sound source. Maybe like I'm double checking again, where it's like, that's the thing. I don't want it set to like monitor only or monitor and output, because then I would be hearing like a loop. That is so fucking weird. What the hell? Oh my god. It's all kinds of new problems just showing up.
Yeah, OBS.txt.
Yeah, just oh my god. Not Yeah, but yeah, it's weird. Like I checked the recording, and like, yeah, it was kind of like, oh, Millennium now here's okay, good, it's fixed.
Okay.
Fucking Christ. Okay, I
I'm
just basically I just ticked boxes 1 through 5. I think it was in advanced audio properties, like basically for like the tracks, just to see if that
basically
would
just
do it.
turn this shit off and then back on again.
Yeah, which is weird because like I thought the solution was gonna be, oh, I just needed to go into like the audio output capture source and just remove the source it was capturing from and then re-add it again. But no, it was some other fucking thing.
Sure, why not? You know what? Like, I'll give it to it. Like, turn it off and on again is a time-honored tradition in computing fixing.
Yeah. This is gonna make for like a weird VOD or whatever it is, but fuck him. Let's just start Gungriffon II.
Yeah, please let that be the biggest problem we have this stream.
Yeah, if that's all it is and I don't have to worry about crashes or anything, I'm good. Ah, game arts.
Kmart's indeed.
The house that the Miyagi's built. One of those Miyagi's, unfortunately, having passed away in 2011 from like complications following a brain tumor.
Oofda.
Yeah,
That's tough shit.
yeah, Takeshi Miyagi. He was actually the one that specifically spearheaded the Gungriffon games, both 1 and 2 on the Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which I guess is kind of. I might as well like bring this up right now because I don't think it has any chance of helping it like get to like its fundraising goal, but it might as well be like worth mentioning. But the other Miyagi, Yoichi, currently has like his own other company, like outside of Game Arts, and like earlier this month, put up a Kickstarter campaign for a multiplayer mecha shooter called Project MBR. And like just the idea behind it, and kind of what was shown like in the Kickstarter pitch, the features and whatnot, just sounds like a multiplayer spiritual successor to Gungriffon, even down to it being like cockpit view, like robots that have like a very kind of logical mechanical feel to their functionality.
Definitely link that out as we're winding down the stream. I would definitely want to keep my eye on it.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, just by the looks of it, because of like the campaign kind of ending by the end of March and it being pretty niche, I have my doubts that it's gonna like reach its 180K
Yeah, I was gonna
dollar goal.
say
Yeah, and that's me after backing it because it's like multiplayer wouldn't be my first choice for it, but I find it kind of like encouraging that these sort of like veterans from like this studio still have fondness for this game and kind of want to make something like that, like some sort of successor.
it's pretty common that folks, even people who have had success in yesteryear, they
Hmm.
tend to have to hustle every time they want to do something new. Like even oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name. Bruce Campbell.
Yeah,
Bruce Campbell, right? Right? Like everybody knows Bruce Campbell. You know, amazing actor. One like noted good guy in his charitable outreach and everything of like that. He still has to go around and hustle frickin' months and months and months on end, just begging for scraps anytime he wants to do a project, even if it's completely in the vein of like the Evil Dead franchise, which
yeah,
has been a consistent like winner for decades, actual decades.
yeah,
But he still has to hustle because apparently of like one thing that's common between Hollywood and video game development is, what have you done for me recently? What have you done for
yeah.
me today?
Yeah, and like the pitch video for Project MBR, well, not the pitch video. It was more like a supplemental video that was like interview with like kind of key members of the staff that they were getting on board for the project, and like the start of it is basically Yoichi Miyagi just kind of talking about like the unfortunate reality of the game industry these days, where it is so hard to get anything greenlit unless it could be guaranteed to turn into a business.
Yeah, to a
Yeah,
certain extent, I get that, like making my own game and so forth. Like I'm the one who was and is on the hook for the development costs of Endless Dark.
Right.
And so, like obviously I care quite a bit about whether or not we ultimately sell enough copies to to pay me back and everything like that. But precisely because the ask that or like the game that we made is relatively modest, and I was able to put a lot of sweat equity into it. Like I'm more than able to absorb those costs because it's not that much.
Yeah.
Like 180k to 180k. If Dark made a third that much, I'd be repaid multiple times over.
Yeah, like you're still making money either way, and like it's not so much that it doesn't require you to kind of like skirt on the more important fact, which is like providing a quality game that people will enjoy.
Yeah, I think the largest thing that a lot of game companies don't understand nowadays is that games, especially niche games, have a very long tail. Like
Yeah,
if you're looking at it like it's a FIFA or a Call of Duty or something like that, then yes, okay, I understand why you would be why you would have some trepidation. But like for something like a mecha game, it doesn't matter if it's out there for 3 years, and you do like very cheap passive marketing for those 3 years, and then it takes you 3 years to find your market and exploit your market. That's fine. Like
hmm
they will absolutely be fine with picking up something that's been around for 3 years. That
yeah,
would never be the case with something like a Call of Duty or whatever. But
oh, definitely not.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So here we are, obviously in the options for Gungriffon II. It's still a Saturn game. We still got plenty of like, uh, it's not reinventing the wheel on the gameplay systems as you'll find. It's like those sort of iterative sequels. But like even when you look through the options, you'll find that they've kind of added quite a bit more to this game as far as how you can approach playing it. Obviously, we still have like the same old controls for the for like using just the regular Saturn pad, pretty much all like the same buttons and inputs, with the exception of night vision being replaced with fire supports, because I guess they kind of realized with the levels they were making, there weren't really enough nighttime levels to really justify the need to have a night vision system. Although it was pretty cool when we showed it off in the first game, and just how like the realistic considerations it took into account.
Yeah, and it suffered from the same problem that I pointed out there, though. Like it would have been much more appropriate for a a more moddable sort of game.
Yeah, but here it's like, yeah. So we have like the pad. We have like the old like Saturn mission stick, which was basically like a big like flight stick with like a separate module of face buttons.
Yeah.
But the big one, the virtual on twin
Oh
sticks.
man. They
Yeah,
actually went through the trouble of making a twin stick setup. That is priceless.
yeah, and it's and the funny thing is, like, this is referring to like a later game in the series after it, but like when you look at how it controls with like the twin sticks, it is very analogous to like the modern twin stick controls we have today, where it is like the left stick handles movement and strafing, and the right stick handles aiming. And it's like, the weird part is that this game after this, Gungriffon Blaze, has a twin stick setup, but for whatever reason, the right stick is the one that does all the movement and the left handles aiming. It fucks me up super bad that it's like
No, that sounds weird.
I just go back to like the Blaze's equivalent of like what it would be like to control it on the Saturn pad, where you have like face buttons control the acceleration and reverse movement. But
Yeah,
we're gonna give the twin stick controls a try, though I'm not gonna guarantee that I'll be able to stick with it for the entire stream, because I mean, especially after playing quite a bit of like the first Gungriffon and even this, it's like there are some things you just get used to over time with how the Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot to mention. There's also if you have a second Saturn pad and a friend, you could do like a double seater mode.
I saw the double seater thing, and I was gonna ask about that if you didn't touch on it. The
Yeah,
entire
yeah.
thing kind of looks like how they worked a two-player mode into Final Fantasy VI. You remember that shit?
Uh, I did not even realize there was like a
Oh,
2 player mode in that
I'll talk
game.
about that, and then I'll talk. Finish your thought here. I'll
Oh
come
yeah,
back to that
but
one.
but yeah, my main thought was that like using the twin sticks, that's like a fun novelty for this game as far as like the mecha piloting simulation. But there are certain aspects about how it controls, particularly with like the fact that you can't really adequately combine the rotating your reticule and strafing at the same time as I would like, or the fact that you don't have the torso twist or
Uh-huh.
turret turn, I guess as it's called, which is assigned to the left shoulder button. So it's like it's still ultimately designed around like you should be using the Saturn gamepad with this. But both are interesting enough to try.
For
It's kind of a
sure.
shame. Kind of a shame I don't have a mission stick though, because that would be extra funny to just try that as like a third option.
Yeah, that's a little bit of like having like one of the Super Scope games on the Super Nintendo, right?
Yeah.
Like all like four of those that were even worth booting up.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so just the quick story about Final Fantasy VI is that if you went into the options of that game, you actually could go in and say multiple controllers, and then it would go through and it would allow you to assign different characters to different controllers. So if you had four people in your party, as you usually do,
Okay.
you could basically split it up to two and two. So like player one would always be the one walking around, but when a fight started, like player two would be in there, and they could be jamming out with you. It was a really weird addition.
So one thing that should be noted as well with Gungriffon II that I specifically forgot to mention, this was a Japan only release. So like the reason you're seeing this English is because this was kind of a like a work in progress English translation patch that I applied to the game.
Honestly,
The
the fact that it got any attention at all from translators is nothing short of a miracle.
yeah, I'll fucking take it. That's for sure. but it but
Go ahead.
but it also highlights a rather interesting thing. Like before I got to this mission briefing screen, like it showed kind of like the overview of like this first mission we're going to, and it specifically said the year 2015. I should mention something that I completely forgot even was a thing like when we went through the first Gun Griffin, because that was the localized official US release of it. Gun Griffin does not actually take place in like the latter half of the 21st century. It's supposed to take place in 2015. That was entirely a localization change for whatever fucking reason, because I guess they thought no one would actually believe that that these extremely down to earth real robot type mecha could have been like feasible in a 2015 scenario.
Fair though, like we're here in 2023 looking at that and basically saying how quaint.
Yeah, but then there's also the funnier fact where it was like it resulted in them having to change even more aspects of like the story and the conflict, because I believe in the final mission of the first game, it's the US Army that's the bad guys. And you're technically supposed to be a US soldier, so it's like it's a weird splinter group or something. Fuck it, I don't
The
know.
answer is don't think about it.
Yeah. So you were also talking a bit about like modularity being something that like was missing from like the first game, obviously, because like it had a very set in stone like weapon loadout that you have for your high max. But this game lets you swap out each of your 4 weapon slots for either new types of weapons, like a burst fire, rifle, like a three shot version of the regular gun, or like a gun that shoots a proximity fuse. Or if you want, you could just stack up duplicates of the exact same weapons if you like.
Just a million machine guns.
Yeah. or no weapons if you're ballsy, but that's not really recommended. That would
Yeah,
mean
I was
having
gonna
to.
like. Does that even like make you faster or anything like that? Does it
No,
provide
like
any?
from what I've seen, it's like it doesn't really have like an impact on weight. I feel like that would be something that the game would have to surface with like moving stats and bars to kind of indicate
Right.
that. Yeah, the good old guided
I'm
missile, which actually, as you'll find, I think does a lot better job at the guided missile part than it did in the first game because it actually, like, it turns a lot faster and does a better job of tracking your targets when you actually shoot them. And the rocket projectile is actually, like, it's no longer like the huge, like, salvo of 8 that just carpet bombs everything in front of you. It's more like just a rapid fire rocket launcher now. Just shoots one
oh,
after the other. So you get it chews through your rockets pretty fast all the same, but it's at least a more targeted weapon, I would say.
it ends up working more like the Hydra missile pods from like the Apache games or whatever.
Yeah, that's definitely a good comparison. And then like the final set of options you have is like you can either do the mission by yourself, you can choose a wingman to join you, or this is the extra crazy part as far as
Whoa.
features. Like there's another port on the back of the Saturn that basically allowed you to system link Saturns together, which is like the double seater isn't just for like if you wanted to do it like on the same console. You could technically do that as well if you were connecting two Saturns at once. And I have to say as well, linking two Saturns together with that specific cable is the only way that you can engage in like 1v1 on this game. Because yes, it has a head-to-head multiplayer.
Sure, why not? So
Yeah.
this reminds me very much of like there's a incredibly short-lived of like little hangout businesses where they would basically throw a whole bunch of consoles and TVs and beanbag chairs
Yeah.
into a big room, and you would go in and you just pay by the hour to hang out.
Mm-hmm.
Ex German, ex US. All right, everybody's ex here. No,
Yeah.
nobody gives a crap.
Well, we have completely forsaken our nationalities. And that's just for the mecha pilots. So, like, technically, for some wingmen, we can also just call in, like, regular, like, attack helicopters if we want.
Extraordinarily average at best. Jesus Christ, throw a little more shade here.
But yeah, it's like different helicopters, but mostly it's like Max that you can choose from. And the main thing you basically have to choose from that is like basically what type of high max you want assisting you is based on like what their primary weapon is. You know, it's like
Right.
so like the missiles, machine gun, but then the other three just have gun, which is
Gun.
kind of redundant. Yeah, the gun is good. Still 124 megabytes on the memory check.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, wasn't that gigabytes last time? But I can't help but think that's a
Mm.
downgrade. But
Or maybe it was like
whatever.
another weird like localization change that was specific to the
Uh,
original.
yeah, I don't know.
All right, here we
I
go.
might just be remembering incorrectly. This is freaking like you jump off, and the first thing these people do is blow up your ride.
Yeah,
Shades of Duke Nukem.
those Russian bastards are gonna pay for shooting up my
Oh my
ride.
ride.
We still got the same old, jump ability, fly around. It's all good.
Frickin' somebody is all sorts of over Empire Strikes Back with that AT-AT knockoff, but okay.
Yeah.
It was a good
It's,
movie, I suppose.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. It's like that's just. Oh, yeah, you're now like giving me flashbacks to like when I showed off Project Phantasma, the second Armored Core game, and there are like some MTs
Yeah,
in that game that are just straight up AT-ATs, and
yeah.
it takes place in an ice level. I should add.
I mean, certain things don't deserve the benefit of the doubt of, oh, maybe this is innocent. No, that's a reference. Like,
Yeah,
you can't get that by me.
yeah. If there's one thing we know that Japan loves that the Japanese can't really like make in their own country, it's Hollywood movies.
Oh man.
They
Well,
definitely get a
like,
kick out of them.
excuse you, Mr. Tank. Like, just,
What was your
just
plan?
sort of cruising right by you. Okay, man, you do
Um,
you, I suppose.
I assumed it was like a foolish idea of it was going to try and run into my shin in an attempt to trip me.
I mean, honestly, I would very much give that the Fist of the North Star as long as it works. So sort of a martial art right there. But
Yeah,
I am very I'm very skeptical that would actually work.
yeah. We still
Hey, now
got
they
our
now they
supply
now they
chopper.
properly tell you, yeah, and they properly tell you that you're rearming.
Mm-hmm. And even like as far as like other HUD improvements that you can obviously tell, we actually have like a more easily identifiable health bar. You know, like the green bar
Yeah,
that says damage right in the bottom center.
which also recovered as you hung out with the supply chopper.
Yep, it's definitely handy. Yeah, so that's the rockets
Yeah, that
technically.
is that is that is super. Just like hydro rocket pod
Yeah,
setup. Played way too much like Jungle Assault and Jungle Strike, Desert Strike, so on and so forth.
yeah, still like messing around with like this game with the twin sticks. It's still got its own fun to it, but yeah, just after a while, you really do start to miss the fact that you don't have the ability to like rotate your upper body independently of where your legs are moving, and that
Yeah,
it kind of ties into the fact where it's like I mentioned before, the you can't really do like circle strafing with this for whatever reason. It's like you can only strafe or you can only turn because with the forward and back movement, uh it still operates on the same assumption that it's working like the accelerate forward and backwards button. So you don't actually need to hold the left stick up or down to go in that direction. It's like you just push it up to almost like a gear shift, I guess you could describe it.
that would be even funnier if you tried to put it into a modern game, considering that like no
Yeah.
car maker is even bothering to make manual transmissions anymore.
Yeah, that is such a shame, especially when I think about most in particular stuff like arcade racers of like, yeah, you know, the Sega variety and whatnot. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like I can't imagine like playing those sort of games without manual transmission as an option because there's usually some kind of benefit.
I mean, particularly in those games, like manual transmission is a big deal because way more control over the vehicle.
Yeah.
Um, but and like my last girlfriend like was absolutely swore by her manual transmission car because it always let her get newer model cars for basically nothing
Mm.
because nobody like to drive stick. Um, but which I thought that was brilliant. I had her teach me the basics of it, the basics of driving stick, just because of like that just flat out convinced me. Of course, directly after um I learned like that was basically the year that they stopped screwing around with it altogether. Cars don't even bother anymore. Not enough people buy it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a shame. I mean, I just like it from like my experiences of getting good at like Daytona USA or Outrun 2, where it's like, yeah, you just quickly change gears in a certain direction and you use that to initiate like a more efficient drift around corners than you would if you were to just do kind of like the staple in video games where it's like you tap brake and hold accelerate
Yeah, feathering the
while
brake.
turning.
For a minute there, I thought that was your support chopper blowing
I
up, and
thought
I was
so
about to
too.
tell you to feel real bad about that.
Yeah, whatever. We're not at a point where it's like there are any missions where we could possibly fail from certain important things like helicopters getting blown up because we're supposed to protect them or something. But yeah,
Sure, we'll get
but
there.
ultimately, this is still reminding me that I think like after this particular mission, I am gonna 100% switch back to the Saturn controls.
Yeah, it was cool to watch and everything, but it was pretty clear you were struggling with the controls the entire time.
Yeah, like it feels like such a weird oversight that you can't really have an easy time like doing the sort of like running circles around a target, at top speed while like shooting at their either last position or expected position, because that's like a big part of like success for movement and attacking in the original. And we still got our arcade ranking.
Sure, why not? Like, this is a particular thing that took just it feels like forever to die. Because this game said it came out in like 1998, I
Yeah.
guess, and at least in America, arcades were well on their way out by then. They had a lot more life in Japan, I guess, which
Hmm.
is a big part of the reason why it why you still see it in games like this. But man, just adding in that particular feature is the very definition of pointless, because like you don't play these sorts of games with like 18 different people. Like you play it with a couple of buddies if you're lucky. So it's just like what the hell is the point of these high scores? Like nobody cares, dude. Like literally 2-3 people will ever see this. About to sneeze, and I need to mute.
I don't know, man. I just like seeing a big number that shows how good I did at the game.
I suppose, and yeah, and I guess that's the
Yeah.
real reason, right?
Yeah, but, and
Yeah.
also like I've hung around enough like from like playing and watching like the modern Ninja Gaiden games to know about like the community that's kind of fostered around doing karma runs and how like that's basically just one big high score chase.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
Like it, it
like
it's
like
it,
it
it's
obviously looks
relatively.
like I can see why you say like it looks silly and pointless because of the fact that it is like set up exactly to look like it would be the scoreboard on an arcade cabinet. Something that you would see as you pass by during the attract mode. But just the core concept of like getting like some kind of score and then like comparing it with like other people that are playing the game. That's the concept of leaderboards. That's the thing we
Well,
have now.
the thing that you pointed out to me that I hadn't properly considered was that, like, okay, yeah, sure. Two to three people are going to be playing it per installation, but also the internet was definitely a big thing in 1998, right? It basically is a way to future proof and say, look, people want to share this and experience this across the internet. This is still a way for them to do so.
Yeah.
This is this is the easy way to support what their like that tradition. And it's just like, okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. It's a relatively low effort way to provide that for people.
Yeah, and especially like yeah, like it is more long-term viable than like trying to just rely solely on the game itself kind of recording that information for you even with an online server because it could get shut down or like some revision in a new release could happen that kind of changes things. Like the big thing I always remember was Ikaruga, um you know, popular shmup by Treasure, had multiple releases, Not too many people are aware of the fact that when Treasure put out the HD version on Xbox Live Arcade and it became the standard version, they changed up like like one or two like specific like enemy waves in like some of the levels, and that was enough to kind of like make the community at large like create up like separate kind of leaderboards within their community to distinguish, okay, this is the like these are the scores for the people that play everything from the arcade original to the GameCube port, and then there's another for everything after, because like it's no longer fair to kind of like compare if
Apples and
someone is playing a
oranges.
version that has like this seemingly minor but ultimately like important change in a game that is encouraging this score attack, like drive basically. So we're going with a bit
Oh,
of a different loadout this time.
I'll be back in just 2 seconds.
All right.
Yes, yes. Come on, puppies.
So yeah, the 3-shot gun, still having the machine gun as a backup because it never hurts to have it for like the kind of the small vehicles or if I run out. And just to save me time, the not wasting so many of these shots because they are manually targeted. Fuck it, I'm just doubling up on 2 sets of auto targeting missiles.
So yeah, the doubling up like that is an interesting question to me, simply because um, the uh, the the question to me is like it says, hey, you can only you can fire two of these at once. Like, do they link together, or are they still considered completely different weapon
they're
systems?
they're completely separate. Like as you'll find on the
Okay.
list, it's like they basically list their own separate ammo pools.
Yeah, they don't link together in any way, like computer wise, even. So like
Nah.
that was really the question I had. Hello, Mr. Tank. Very rude of you.
All right.
I love this era's polygon stick out. Like
Yeah.
you're just coming up on something, and it's just having a seizure. I've always I found that incredibly quaint.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's see.
I love how ominous that lock on that thing is. It's just like I'm like, all right, well, game over
Yeah.
for you then.
Oh, took care of
Jeez
that tank
Louise.
before I got to it.
Yeah,
Good
no
job, game.
joke.
Yeah, so far it's like it's pretty easy to start. Plenty of tanks, just kind of as we deal with like this kind of fortification. I admit I kind of forgot exactly what the briefing for it was, because like the actual text of the briefing, there is so little to it because they spend a lot more time during those mission briefings like having this like this audio recording of people basically gathering in the meeting room to kind of go over it. It reminds me of like kind of the briefing screens of something like the original Crimson Skies, where
The original X-wing game also had a lot of that,
yeah,
like you would have the various X-wing and A-wing pilots or whatever, shuffling in, and then Admiral Akbar would go through and enumerate what the mission plan was
yeah,
for everything. Like it was very charming in that way. But I definitely did hear all of that going on, and I am not good enough at Japanese to really catch what they were saying. But the
same,
English
yeah,
translation was just something like, yeah, people are moving in on one of our hard points, and there's a lot of tanks, and your high max are the only thing that represents an effective deterrent. So I expect you to fight like hell.
yeah, definitely. Like the
Okay.
like with this particular translation, it is very much like focusing on bare essentials with what it needs to kind of convey to you, like important menu items, like the core briefing.
Oh wow, nice. That was a good deflection shot.
Yeah, wasn't even for me. I think it was just from one of my wingman because like it
Oh
definitely helping.
yeah, I thought that that was you just sort of casually flipping that guy off.
In the cockpit, I am. All
What
right.
a boom.
Yeah, it's like God. Just the homing missiles in this game are such a glow up compared to how they were in the first because it's
I
like
mean, they actually hit things.
well, they're actually able to hit like fast moving targets. I guess is the thing. Like I think for whatever reason they only seemed really able to like deal with slower moving targets and especially like stationary ones, which kind of defeats the purpose of why you would want
Yeah,
homing
like
weapons in
why
the
do you need a
first
lock
place.
on for
Yeah,
a stationary target? No, like the big thing that I was snarking about at the with the last game was that any lateral movement whatsoever completely defeated it, which is that like that's
yeah,
the point behind having lock on weapons is because lateral movement like that is literally like the hard thing about about aiming like that. Like
mm-hmm,
anybody who's played any kind of simulator, or even any kind of FPS, like straight forward and back movement, you can acquire that pretty easily. Like actually leading a target when it's moving perpendicular to you, that's the hard part.
yeah, and yeah, Haseo, uh, unfortunately with their Japanese knowledge, also like providing like on the fly translations of like the Japanese text that shows up at the bottom. And
Yeah,
yes,
are fairly obvious, thank God.
definitely. But yeah, this is yeah, Haseo, that is correct though. This is Gungriffon II. This is a first person mecha game. You know, it's all in the cockpit. Doesn't look like much of a cockpit. I guess it's more like the screen of the cockpit, as it were.
Heads up display,
This
like
isn't
any
this isn't quite to the level as what we would see in something like Steel Battalion, aka the greatest mecha simulation ever devised.
Steel Battalion is an amazing sim.
Yeah,
I'm just kind of basking in a few memories of that. Like
yeah,
the real quote unquote problem, if you want to call it that, is that like you only have a thanks guy, just hop
oh,
right in front of us, I suppose. I mean, the real problem is that you only see like the 90 degrees in front of you, which is like that's not how any cockpit is set up ever. Like the
yeah.
only thing that's even remotely comparable to that is something akin to an actual tank, which there's a reason why that is crewed by a crew of like 3 to 4 people.
That's though. Like one of my favorite things about Steel Battalion was from like an episode of Game Center CX, where I think it was
Ah,
actually featured on there, and they had Atsushi Inaba, the producer, one of the guys that later went on to help found Platinum Games.
yeah.
And basically, Arino just asked him, "So, like, what is? Why this game? Why did you make it? Like, what was the inspiration behind it?" And his answer was, "It is the dream of men." And you know what? I believe him.
Also, you useful for an answer to Haseo's question.
Yeah,
It is not the best location, but it is the most iconic and the funniest. Zone of the Enders is literal
the
cockpit.
cockpit. Yeah, just
And like
thanks, Kojima.
I saw that
I know you were only producer on those games, but I am absolutely positive you just told Yoji Shinkawa to put it there as a joke.
I saw that crap like 20 years ago, and I'm still laughing like a 6-year-old over it.
Unsolicited cockpit.
Unsolicited cockpit. I remember Like the
yes.
first time I saw that in the game, like the first cutscene it showed up,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really believe it. Like I was just like, no, no, this has got to be me. This has got to
Yeah.
be,
But then you see Jehuti go into flight mode and it just shoots straight up and it's like, okay.
yeah. And it keeps happening, and it's
Yeah.
very clearly intentional. And he's just like, guys, guys, are you serious? Apparently they were.
Hmm.
All right, whatever.
Let's actually show off something very quickly that this game also has as like a nice extra feature. You
Sure,
can you can rewatch the battle you just finished in like a live replay.
cool.
And that also includes being able to change camera, so you actually get to look at your Hymax in action from all sorts of angles.
I remember Shadows of the Empire was doing something like this around this time as well.
Yeah,
Only, like they didn't have a cool have a cool um replay mode for it, like basically in a lot of the piloting sections, like the one everybody tried it with was with
right.
Hoth. But like you had to like play the game with this like cinematic camera going, which was practically impossible.
Yeah,
But if you manage to pull it off through some combination of level memorization and luck, it did look like one of the coolest freaking things of the generation.
yeah. And I think going back to the whole like Saturn link cable thing that you could do, like that ties back into the idea where it is like you basically have this live replay camera system going, but basically on the other person's Saturn. So they get to watch you do all the cool stuff while you're playing on your own Saturn and on
Yeah,
your own TV in the cockpit view.
that was what made me think of those okay. That was what made me think of like console bars. I guess is
Yeah,
the name for it. Like they were around for such a short amount of time. I don't think they ever really got their own idiomatic name. But that was definitely the sort of crap you would do around there. I just I have like a a screen of somebody just like playing Halo or whatever, and it was all cinematic and brought and was supposed to draw people in. And of course, like basically no games actually supported that use case.
yeah. And if you want to, you can press like you have zoom in and zoom out buttons, but like if you're like on your player high max, you can totally just zoom in all the way that it reverts back to cockpit view. It's neat.
Seems reasonable. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
this is a cool little feature. Interestingly, that's the sort of thing that would be a lot easier nowadays, simply because it's so much easier to record like based replays of most popular engines. Like
Yeah.
obviously the source engine has been doing that for a long time. I'm pretty sure that they're a good they're a good add-ons for that for the I'm having real trouble with names today. Unity engine.
Oh yeah.
The Unity engine I'm pretty sure has some stuff with that, and I'm almost certain Godot does as well.
Yeah. So this is our first level of the game that actually does take place at night, and as you'll find, even though it is like a nighttime operation, it still lived well enough that yeah, you can clearly see that they understood that like the that needing an entire button dedicated to like a night vision mechanic was no longer necessary for this.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of a difficult thing to justify when like if it's a nighttime operation, you just always have it on. Like, all
Mm-hmm.
right, I suppose.
No helicopters to choose from. It's only high
Huh.
max from here.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, and this is one where it's like it is essentially a protect and escort mission, but like as far as like that particular concept for missions go, it's not the worst that it could be in this one, because it's yeah, you get plenty of freedom right up until the very end to kind of like break away from the convoy you're escorting just to take care of any targets that are trying to get in the way.
I mean, the mission briefing also like literally said you need to go to the enemy on this one. Like
Yeah,
you need to take their initiative away.
definitely. It's only really once it gets to like the very end when like they're about to finally cross out of the border of operations where it is like I found you definitely have to kind of like keep their backs covered because otherwise like that's when they send out like the really tough enemies that like trying to chase after them and constantly missing your shots because you're bad at like tracking lateral movement can like cost you the mission right at the end. At
Yeah,
least on normal difficulty, because I mean, like we are playing on easy just to ensure I can show off as much of this as possible for the stream.
for sure. Few things are more satisfying than watching those annoying little flies get swatted.
Yeah, fuck you, helicopters.
Oh, there. Oh, okay. I guess that was that particular. I maybe that one was a jet.
Yeah, but nope, they're coming up over the cliffs.
They coming out the woodwork.
Oh no, whatever will I do? Oh wait,
We shoot them in the
I don't need
face.
to. My allies are still doing a good job.
It is nice. The convoy does have its own escorts.
Yeah, and it's like you only ever really fail if absolutely every single one of those green dots is removed, you know? So, like, there's no priority targets among them. It's like, even if one makes it out of this battlefield, it's totally fine.
Sure, why not?
Yeah. High ground's only useful if you stay there. That's true. You made the mistake of trying to fight them on their level.
God, that is so satisfying. Just like the fast mover
Yeah.
trying to sneak out from your reticle, and then the freaking anti-air missile just broadsides it.
Yeah. And, like, fucking hell, like, my goddamn wingman is probably the bigger MVP for this entire stream than I will be.
And this particular wingman is using a gun too, so like strictly
Yeah.
speaking, he shouldn't be that good against the double A, but
Well,
he's swatting them.
yeah, like pretty sure his bio did say he was like an expert marksman, so he's at least showing the receipts.
I mean,
And done.
like what was that? Was that like I don't know the word to use, cord, but like that cord in the back every time you fired like a missile. Was like from the whoa, the convoy got chewed up. Okay,
Yeah.
no, it definitely wasn't. The I was confused because the music in this game is also surprisingly good.
Yeah.
And it was coinciding with you firing like insanely well.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I don't think it's like has anything on that level of like being dynamic or anything like that. Yeah,
Just lucky, I guess.
yeah. Yeah, but you are correct. Like it is definitely like a good soundtrack and still has like a different feel from like what Gungriffon Blaze even has cuz
Offers.
it's gets a bit more eclectic in that one. Blaze is an interesting game because I feel like uh I think for this series this is one of those things where which game in the series I think is the best depends on my mood. And a lot of that I think also kind of comes from the just the fact that they do approach certain things differently.
Such as I'm not certain I'm
Um
following.
oh, well like the like they have like this sort of like customization and progression system that's more advanced in Blaze where it leans more into the arcade kind of trappings surrounding the game in a weird way, where it's like you're basically picking up like boxes from like enemies and like obstacles and whatever you blow up that basically give you like new weapons, new armor, optional pieces, that sort of thing. And like that's kind of how you go about like unlocking new units and whatnot. But this is meanwhile, it's like this is also like a lot more simple and straightforward. Like, yeah, you do have like your custom weapon loadouts as well as like wingmen to choose from, and that to me feels like it's the right amount of customization to have to manage.
Right. Yeah, because much more than that, you end up getting caught in the weeds.
Yeah.
Haseo was also saying that there is no game sound for some reason.
Seriously, because like I'm hearing it, you hearing it as well?
I mean, I'm watching you on the Discord stream, so I am not. I'm watching a slightly different feed than everybody else.
Well, okay, that is weird. God damn it.
Might as well just finish this mission and then go take a look at it.
Yeah, because like I'm definitely hearing it on my end. Not hearing it. What the fuck is going on? Oh god, this is gonna be a fucking. This is gonna be a fucking mess to figure out.
Womp womp.
Because it's like because like when it comes to like the audio for the game, I am hearing it through OBS itself. Is the thing. And like you were even mentioning that like obviously you could like hear the audio as well when you were mentioning like the music and the missile firing.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm watching through
Yeah.
Discord, which might have slightly different semantics.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, that's
That is
annoying.
definitely frustrating, like because that's 100% gonna be what Haseo is saying. It's 100% gonna be OBS having another weird quirk.
Yeah, just yeah, whatever the case is like I'm just not gonna try and like I've like the like this is obviously gonna be like still uploaded in archive no matter what.
Yeah,
But I'll just have to kind of like put up the disclaimer. Hey, shit's fucked. I don't know.
blow up already,
Thank
jerk.
you. And now we just got to make sure that those like two remaining pieces parts of the convoy actually do get out.
Yeah, I was surprised. You went forward to handle that one armored column. You came back and like that. I was like, oh, you're doing fine. There's like 14 dudes over here. You
Unfortunately, there's
came
one
back.
left. Oh shit,
There's
this
like
is cutting
one.
close.
Yeah, like there was two dudes and now there is one. Like convoy just got absolutely chewed to hell.
There
There
it
you
is.
go, screwball.
Oh my god.
Just like almost your last bullet in the gun. I mean, you got another
Yeah.
7 bullets in gun, and then you only have MG, which
Yeah.
you're
Te-
friggin' engaging a bunch of these other high max. Good luck with that.
yeah, something like that. There we go. Was waiting for the mission complete. Okay, I'm gonna
Thank God.
quickly double check whatever the fuck is going on.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna take the opportunity to refill my water bottle. I'm gonna be back in just 2 seconds.
All right. Just oh man. Like unless it's something where the or maybe if like I if the audio slider was too low, but no, that couldn't possibly be it. They would still be able to hear something. In advanced audio properties. Yeah, let me okay. Fucking hell. Oh, now you hear it? Oh my god.
Outstanding. Another just like random fix.
Like, and it's in the same area too, and it's one that I never had to fucking, like, deal with up to this point, but it's like, no, as it turns out, like, I had to turn on, like, the tracks in advanced audio properties that would never give me that kind of problem before.
Outstanding.
Yeah, fuck you, OBS. Let's actually back out of doing the scenario for a while to mess around with something a bit different. That's what Arian meant with audio splitting. Actually, it happens sometimes. God, yeah, this is just a fucking pain. Okay, let's see.
Big sad.
Yeah, so we have like other modes that we can mess around with, such as a survival mode.
Station C-17. Spades.
So this is a case where it's like, we obviously have to survive, but this is also a case of we also have to make sure that C-17 is not destroyed, or else it also fails.
Right. So yeah, basically you seriously you can just roll out as a Tungusta. All right.
Apparently, roll out as like tanks or like any of the other
elephant tank. Seriously. Yeah. Oh. Okay. That's those AT-AT boys that you've been doing. All right. So that's the
elephant,
spiritual successor to
brutal
the
crab
elephant tanks
as well. Plays a helicopter, Storm
Panther.
Panther.
Plays helicopters. All right, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, which I'll admit, I've not actually like gone this far. Like I've always seen the survival mode option, but I never ended up actually like doing anything with it. So this is kind of a first for me as well. Yeah,
I'm invariably reminded of Earthsiege 2, where after an entire game and a half of suffering under the pressures of the AI flyers, they finally give you a flying vehicle, and it is absolutely brutal. Like if you get the if you can use the flying vehicle in Earthsiege 2, like nothing stands a chance. You can just basically load it up with massive like plasma cannon and turn yourself into an air to ground bomber, and like nothing can stop you. Nothing comes even close.
These clearly did not get translated in time.
Yeah, those are super busted.
Yeah.
That usually happens when you do a font hack and you don't do the translation updates.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. All right, Battle of Vladivostok.
Yeah, these frickin' games, or these frickin' systems, I should say, are just they were notoriously difficult to hack, just because it was that really weird, almost like adolescent phase. I think is what I'll refer to it as.
Yeah.
Where consoles were starting to really catch up to what PCs could do in terms of what they were doing with dedicated hardware and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But they like the dedicated hardware that they could bring to bear was still immature enough that you had to do a bunch of weird hacks. So it's a very strange mixture of of a lot of yesteryears of like the Genesis and the N6 or the Super Nintendos and all of their like like crazy things that they were doing to just make anything function, and and some kind of attempt to standardize. So like there's a lot fewer like fonts that you need to hack, but at the end of the day, like the fonts are still basically just graphics that are on the CD, and you need
Yeah.
to replace those in order to have any kind of real translation effort.
I gotta say, controlling this brutal crab, it is a very drifty feeling mecha. I gotta say, like both with like how the movement and aiming kind of feels. It's like when I let go, it doesn't stop right away in that sort of digital kind of manner. It still
Yeah.
has like a bit of inertia.
It's a big boy.
Yeah, but hey, it gets up to top speed real quick though.
I'm gonna echo Hiseo though. Like you're basically a Tachikoma right now. You're big
Oh
bro
yeah,
Tachikoma.
hell yeah. Love those little guys. Even though they're
One of
big
the,
spider tank, they feel like little guys just because of like the AI voices. Yes,
I
I love the
mean,
Tachikomas in Standalone Complex.
like the ones in standalone complex were absolutely the stars of that show. Standalone
Yeah,
complex was great. That was great, but
yeah. What a
really
fantastic anime.
it really suffered from because it was so episodic. You didn't understand why half of the characters were there. Like Borma had made absolutely no sense why he was at every meeting until like second gig where they finally had an episode where they had a bomb for him to
Oh,
dismantle.
yeah. Yeah, it's like they've went all this effort to show that, like, Section 9 has more than just the Major, Bato, Togusa, and the Chief.
And yeah, and they had all of those folks there, but it was just so sort of like, what exactly do you do here?
Yeah.
But whatever.
Who's the guy with the beard? Exactly.
Yeah. When
but
did you
hey,
get
at
here?
least it made good for, like, that wide profile shot of, like, the entirety of, like, Section 9, like, in the opening for second gig.
Yeah. Second gig did a better job overall of justifying why Section 9 had such a deep roster. I love how most of the high max move. They look
Yeah.
so excited to be there.
Just happily jogging around. I could really use a fucking, like, resupply chopper, but then I guess that would defeat the purpose of it being a survival mode.
I mean, yes and no. Like if they had this the rescue chopper over in some area where the objective wasn't, like that would be kind of an interesting duality.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, like, I'm pretty sure you're not getting any support there, and you're just gonna have to deal with Zelda low health beat for the rest of your existence.
Yep. Because that was the style at the time.
Oh my god. I'm very glad that style has gone out of style because this style is making me is making me remember that Dr. Kevorkian was a thing and maybe wondering if he had a point.
Oh, no.
Please assist my suicide if I have to listen to this bullshit.
Okay, come on. There it is. Yeah, this is pretty fun to control once you get used to it. You just have to deal with the fact that, like, it is a bit more fast and loose compared to a high max, and you can't jump. But hey, you're playing a spider tank, and that's awesome.
Big crabs can't jump.
Which is weird, because, like, with all, like, the playing as, like, quad-legged ACs, you would think that you totally could jump, but no, only in that game. And even
Honestly,
then, you can't really jump that good
yeah.
with quad
If
legs.
anything, you would think that it would be easier to jump with four legs like that, just because you've got.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. All
All
systems
systems
broken.
broken. Oh, we had a good run. It's like 40 some enemies taken care of, and
All
they're
systems.
just shitting all over me, continuing to shoot me after I have clearly broken down and given up.
Fine.
Fucking
They're just
dicks.
they have some issues to work out.
Oh wait, I completely skipped the R. Whoops, there it is. Okay. Yeah, that was a look at the survival mode. There's also versus battle.
Yeah. That's the head-to-head thing that you were talking about.
Yeah, but this is like because we accessed this in like single play.
Oh, interesting.
I think this technically means like it would be basically against an AI. Is the idea?
We'll see. Yeah, like that. It was. I wasn't expecting them to make it an attack and defend war game.
Oh wait, no. I guess it does require you to have like the Saturn Link
Okay.
cable.
The first attack, having it be an attack and defend war game is a lot more interesting than what I
Yeah.
was thinking. I thought it was just basically gonna be a straight out head to head thing, which
Yeah.
there's a certain appeal to that, but even with very well fleshed out mechanics for that, it
Yeah.
gets old really quickly. Like I used to be very good at Star Fox 64,
Mm-hmm.
but the only reason why I was very good at Star Fox 64 was because the split screen dogfighting mechanics in that game were about as deep as a reflecting pool, and I was the only person who spent more than an hour on it.
Weird. Yeah. All right. And like the first game, it does have an exercise mode. It's basically the same deal where it is like you have the beginner and the expert kind of setup. And you're expected to somehow do this as fast as possible, which I am nowhere good enough to actually kind of.
Yeah, whatever. Again, style at the time. This wasn't the only series that decided it was a great idea for to have like a training and tutorial mode would that would test even people who understood how to play the game.
Yeah.
And fortunately, everybody ended up realizing that's a terrible idea and it's stupid because it suffers from the overfitting problem. You can you can make a training mode that tests a bunch of reflexes and so forth, but ultimately, to since you're also just doing basics at the time,
Mm-hmm.
it's always going to end up forcing somebody to just get really good at that scenario rather than really good at the skill. The first Call of Duty Modern Warfare
Yeah, I was actually about to bring up like what you were describing is the sort of thing where it's like Infinity Ward. Well, I guess like the people that left Infinity Ward to become Respawn just absolutely love like rolling with that concept.
Yeah, like the first like the quintessential example is the first Modern Warfare game where you just have Captain Price like yelling at you to go through the kill house, and it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, you did that this well, so clearly you're going to do well on veteran mode. None of that is the case. That's ridiculous. You're stupid.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand why anybody thought that was a good idea, let alone continued to double down on the idea that it was a good idea.
Apparently, like
Whatever.
they kept doubling down on it even all the way into Titanfall 2. And now we don't and now we got no more Titanfall.
Yeah. Lots of wasted effort on that one, if you ask me.
Yeah. No, never mind the fact that I always felt it was like kind of like frustrating with how like the how they just approached designing the Titans. from like a playability standpoint.
I actually never really played the Titanfall games. They always came out and were big at inconvenient times for me.
Yeah,
It'd
it's
be
like the thing it always highlighted as being the cool part about its dynamic was the, you know, being able to go back and forth between like being like a kind of soldier on foot and like
Mhm.
playing and like piloting a giant robot. Except the thing was like when you were the pilot on foot, you had like amazing mobility, something that like especially for 2014 when that first one came out, like blew people's minds because of just how much Modern Warfare and like all of its derivatives completely ruined first-person shooters for that like entire generation. That people forgot what it is like to have actual fun movement in shooters, and it became the sort of thing where like you got in control of the Titans, and it's like this is just a normal first person player model scaled up.
Yep.
Like it doesn't even have anything to it that feels unique as far as like controlling a mecha, even if they wanted to like keep it simple and not go the sim route, which is totally valid. There's plenty of mecha games out there that are very arcadey in their approach. Like it still was not anywhere near as interesting. Like it was trying to like create like a multiplayer like a setup where it was all about juggling like two different types of gameplay styles, where but one was just way clearly more fun than the other. And the only time I ever used the Titan was more like, well, I built up the resources to finally summon one. I might as well use it like a smart bomb until it is no longer useful and gets blown up, and then it's back to the actual fun.
Most recent Gundam game kind of has the opposite problem, wherein like they do have a free flow sort of thing where you start out in your mobile suit,
Mm-hmm.
and you can hop out to do different objectives or whatever. But in general, of like being on like being on foot or on jetpack, as the case may be,
Yeah.
is just an absolutely miserable situation of like you you are so impotent and so fragile, and so slow, and just it feels so bad that there is an emergency eject
Yeah.
um in the new Gundam game, which like mobile, I think it's Mobile Operations 2 or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. Battle Operations 2.
Battle
Yeah.
Operations 2.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Like there
The
is
port of
there,
that game finally getting westward and having like kind of a botched attempt at like a first closed beta or whatever it
I
was.
yeah I played it during that time, of like the mobile suit functionality feels reasonably okay,
Yeah,
but being an infantryman feels so incredibly bad. Like there is an emergency eject in that game. I,
yeah,
I would genuinely prefer to just die most of the time.
yeah. I mean, it
Just fucking
also
kill me.
reminds me as well that like Damon X Machina like technically also has like on foot kind of stuff where you could get out of your cockpit, but it's the same sort of thing where it's like you have so much more like limited functionality and like options compared to when you're actually in your arsenal.
The one little tank that could over here. All right,
It's
you do
like,
you
I
there,
gotta get
buddy.
out of here. I gotta go back home, be a family man. No,
Yeah, like
this is war,
at a certain
son.
point, you just should have just let that cat retreat. But
Oh
whatever.
yeah,
He chose violence and shot back at you. Whatever. It's his fault.
chose poorly. Yeah, Arian. Like Damon X Machina is like just one of my absolute favorite like games of like my one of my favorite mecha games in recent memory, because it was like with how long it had been like since Verdict Day and FromSoft just basically forsaking Armored Core in general, that like ex FromSoft developers basically went, fuck it, we're making our own mecha game like the good old days. So like it was pretty much just made for me.
Like did we finally get any? Speaking of Armored Core, did we finally get any new information about the new Armored Core game that's supposed to be coming out? Or are we
No,
still
and
basically in a holding pattern on that?
yeah, we are still refraining from discussion on that because they have still refused to show gameplay or like
Yeah.
anything more in depth about like the actual like systems involved. They just keep referring back to the fucking trailer and being like, oh, there's some hints in there about what it might be, and it's like, nah, fuck off.
No, like trailers are so stupid. Like I really I really struggle to like because to release Endless Dark on Steam, they absolutely require that you have a trailer, which makes sense. You know,
Yeah,
like I get that, but I really struggled to make one for the game because it was just like a trailer should give you a good cross section of gameplay and nothing else. But like unless you have if you unless you have something that that distills well into gameplay like that, I just don't feel like you should be making a trailer at all.
yeah.
Like
For me, my bigger
you're
problems
doing
are
everybody a
just the.
disservice.
I mean, my bigger problems are just when like the trailer they do decide to go with isn't one that is actually like anything that could be possibly conceived in engine at all. It's just CG.
Yeah, the and goes to what I was saying. Like if you make a trailer, it should absolutely be a good chunk of gameplay to give people an idea what they're
Yeah.
in for playing the game. Like that is the only real goal of a trailer is to give me an idea of what it feels like to play the game. That's it.
Yeah, and I'll admit, I feel like I'm a bit of a weirdo in this case as far as like what sort of trailers I would like to see more of, in which I would be down for more informative long form trailers that are treating it like they are trying to sell you a product and these are all the features going over them. Like
Oh, like infomercial stuff.
yeah, like almost something like that. Like I'm also kind of reminded of how it's like whenever Super Robot Wars, whenever they have like a new game coming out and do like one of their trailers, it's like they always highlight the most important thing, which is what series are being introduced, and they're always going through them in order, like accompanied by like the music that they have and all that. Like see some of their attack animations
Yep.
and all that. That's fun, and those are like several minutes long, but I don't care.
Yeah, unfortunately, I would love that too. I want that on record, but
Yeah,
I can tell you very truthfully from making long form Let's Plays and so forth, like you get way more overall hits and attention if you make the commitment from the get go to only take up like 2 minutes of somebody's time tops. And
yeah,
even then, 2 minutes is too long for a lot of people. Which like unlike most folks, I'm not going to sit here and go glug 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 attention spans. People are busy. They have a lot of demands on their attention, and it can be a big ask to say I need 30 minutes of your attention. Like that's a lot to ask out of a cat.
yeah. Yeah, Arian also doesn't really care for CG stuff. Like, yeah, I don't mind them showing some kind of story
That
and such, but show gameplay in addition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like CG trailers and so forth, they are the definition of a waste of your time. Like
Mm-hmm.
they could be 15 seconds, and they're still a waste of your time because they tell you nothing. Like
Yeah.
you walk away with no information. And they expect you to be excited about nothing. Like I'm tired of people treating me like I'm just an attention sack to be squeezed.
Yeah. Especially when it's something where it's like, oh, it's this franchise coming back, and it's from that developer you love. Clearly, you should be obligated to be excited.
Yeah,
No, I have
they're
reason to not
definitely
be excited precisely because they have not done anything with it for almost a fucking decade.
Yeah, that was basically the idea behind the System Shock one remake, and apparently
Yeah.
they're finally getting to the point where they've
Yeah.
got something to show people. But
Yeah.
you
Well, the thing
know,
is like they've had things to show multiple times. They just like go back
sort of.
to like adjusting things because like it is so crazy looking at the stuff that they've done like in the almost 7 years of development, where it's like it all started with them like doing a demo of the game, like a first slice that went with the Kickstarter pitch that was made in Unity, which they then decided, no, we're actually going to switch to Unreal because people have this stigma against Unity being like awful performance hogs and whatnot. And then they like had all kinds of stuff where it was like they got way too ambitious with their initial design plans that they had to pare it back and go back to the drawing board to be more
Publisher
faithful.
problems. It's just like
Yeah,
literally every problem you can possibly think of has plagued that
yeah,
particular
yeah.
project.
But like the even the crazier part, just looking at it all, is like with the demos that like I've played that they have put out. It's like the demo they put out from a couple years ago, and then even the most recent one from this year is like they've been good. That's kind of the fucked
Yeah,
up part. Like with all
like
the
they're
problems they've been having, they've actually been sticking through and kind of overcoming it.
yeah, I'm very wait and see about the System Shock remake.
Yeah,
Like, I'm hopeful, but
yeah,
like, I know what that sort of development process does to projects. It's
yeah.
rough, dude.
I think at the very least it kind of highlights why maybe Night Dive should after this just stick entirely to doing like remasters and enhanced editions of old PC games instead of trying to make a new one from scratch.
I mean, like a lot of it it just goes to frickin' Stephen Covey's Seven Habits of Highly Effective People begin with
Right.
the end in mind. Of like what you were talking about with regard to moving away from Unity. Okay, on one hand, I can definitely understand why they did that above and beyond the random stigma with Unity, which is
Yeah.
somewhat deserving, I
Yeah.
guess, not in
I mean, I think
in
like
any
the stigma.
serious way,
I'm
but
pretty sure the stigma Unity has now has been kind of more informed by John Riccatello's like really fucked up dumb comments that he has made in recent years.
really the big one that I would be concerned
Yeah,
about. Why, like
same.
I would require some serious convincing as a game developer to make anything in Unity at this point, just because I have no idea what the people behind Unity are going to do with my creation, right? So
Yeah,
you go to Unreal Engine, and like friggin' the man like the people behind Unreal are just as ridiculous. You only need to look at whose his face is Twitter and
oh
see
yeah,
what he
yeah,
says anything about EGS to understand the guy is delusional scum.
yeah. It's
But you
like I do not fault anyone that is doing all the grunt work for putting together the stuff for Unreal Engine as it is now. But I talk infinite shit towards Tim Sweeney because it is
that's his
100% deserved.
frickin' name. I was blanking on his name too. Yeah, Sweeney's a dumbass, and
Yeah,
Sweeney is a jackass. But you at least have a very clear idea of what is going to happen with your game if you build on Unreal.
yeah,
Like that has never changed for actual decades. So like, okay, fine. I can understand why you would do that, but begin with the end in mind. Like I get that they started this project 7 years ago. There were problems with Unity 7 years ago. Like, I'm
yeah,
sorry. Like they were there. That's your fault for not actually looking at your tools and having strategic conversations about that. And like the scope problem. You didn't begin with the end in mind. Your
yeah,
scope your scope should not change that much after you get started. Those are all basically leadership failures and leadership
yeah.
problems.
Yeah. Like it's the sort of thing where like whenever I've heard kind of like post-mortems or interviews with like developers that are actually, you know, not trying to like talk about their game for the sake of marketing, but actually talking about like the development process. It always bothered me whenever it came to developers just kind of talking about and like they'll like try not to commit to like any sort of like concrete plan, because of, on the one hand, like there is the fact that like even if you do have like a clear plan and a goal like at the end in sight of what you want it to be, no plan ever survives contact with the enemy. But it always
No,
bothered me when developers took that like way too hard in the other direction, where it's like, let's just have our development be completely fluid and see what comes out. And I think based on kind of the state of big, expensive AAA Western games these days, that along with all the other dysfunctions that happen at big studios, it's just
you
that's
have
clearly not a good long-term solution in the slightest.
you have to have a definition of done.
Yes.
Like at every single stage, you have to have a definition of done, and like that is something that people forget all the time, even when they are at the absolute top of their game. Kojima in particular is notoriously bad about not having a definition of done. He changes his mind all the time, and it takes an entire team to keep him on a definition of done that will allow a delivery. That was
Yeah.
one of the reasons why Death Stranding was so good, was because he had the team around him to force him to stick to his own definition of done that he didn't have for a lot of the Metal Gear games.
Which is ironic, because whenever I look at just like all the batshit weirdness of Death Stranding and how eye-rolling a lot of it is, I almost think that he still didn't have his team reel him in. But I guess it was ultimately more focused in what it ended up being
No, no,
than
no,
the later
no,
Metal
no.
Gears were.
A matter of a matter of being batshit. Like Death Stranding is Death Stranding is 100% batshit. Like
Yeah.
100% of the time. It's a matter of look. You're going to make this point. Say for example that Sam Porter Bridges doesn't like to be touched, and he slowly gets over that phobia as you play the game. How are you going to do that? Well, we want to do it this way. Great, cool. That is your definition of done for that particular point. We are now done talking about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you want to change some detail, and that's even more skeezy and weird or whatever. Okay, Mr. Kojima, that's your prerogative. You can be weird. You can like that's what the people love about you, is that you're weird. But you're not going through and saying, "Oh no, now I want to communicate it in this way." No, sir, Mr. Kojima, that's changing the definition of done. And that's basically the thing that caused friction with Metal Gear Solid 5, is that going back and changing not only how the Diamond Dogs developed, but all of the mechanics that he wanted to work in to show how the Diamond Dogs were developing and so forth. And that's why we never got the third map, we never got the final act, and Metal Gear Solid 5 is an amazing game that is still just not done.
Yeah.
It's just not done.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, and it's ultimately a result where it's like, yeah, like, talk shit about Konami all you want, rightfully so, but like, it is at least more understandable that they were getting fed up with Kojima just fucking around on that. Also, like, just saw like kind of relating back to like our dunking on Tim Sweeney. Haseo, with the title of Tim Sweeney Todd, the Butcher of Digital Game Distribution.
Like one thing that Soul and I have already agreed on is that if we ever get any kind of notoriety with game development, which neither of us expect, frankly, we're doing this as passion projects, and if people end up liking it, great, wonderful.
Totally.
But if we ever get any kind of of notoriety, and EGS comes to us and says, "Hey, we'll buy out a year exclusive." We are telling them to go jump in the lake, like
Yeah,
go straight to hell. Like we're not interested.
absolutely respectable.
My water bottle is empty again. Why is my water bottle always empty? This
You're
is
so
this has
thirsty.
been a yeah, this has been a nice this has been a nice replay to watch though.
Yeah, especially just taking a look at like what the wingman has been doing the entire time.
Yeah, walking into a wall.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I've kind of made that same mistake, so it's almost indistinguishable from the average player.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Like there were a couple of times that I knew you were just hung up on the sub
Yeah,
for a little bit. So there were a few times that you were on your wingman right here, and I was just rambling away at whatever the hell it was I was talking about, and I forgot I was looking at your wingman.
yeah, yeah. This like very dark colored. You can kind of see depending on like when it's turning and like in certain positions, you can actually see it like getting darkened like from like the shadows like casting against the opposite side, for instance. And it's a nice detail. Like this is, yeah, like again, this is a Saturn game, and this was like for like a 3D engine that Game Arts was like prototyping. I think they used part of it like for Grandia ultimately, but like this was obviously made first for Gungriffon is the
Yeah, yeah.
idea. Yeah, it's and I think that's really all we really need to show. We went through like half the campaign. We showed off the survival mode. We showed that the exercise exists. Kind of highlighted the just the how amazing it is that they have all these different control options,
Mm-hmm.
even with the double seater stuff. Just like, oh, like, yeah, because again, it's the sort of thing where like they did not do like a full like paradigm shift or anything on like how like the core gameplay mechanics worked or like how you approach them. It was just what more can we add on top of like this already solid foundation we established before.
Yeah, very much like the last Gun Griffin game. Like it's a crying shame that we never got a solid foundation like this on PC or some other kind of thing where it
Yeah,
was possible to mod it and get people really excited about the serious integration of a lot of this stuff, because like this is exactly the sort of game with a durable core and a good show off of what it can do that
yeah,
survives 15 years after it's been quote unquote abandoned.
yeah.
Like never both of the Neverwinter Nights games are very similar in that way, in
Mm-hmm.
that they have an amazing engine. Anybody can mess with it, and the original campaigns for both of them suck. Like
Yeah.
the launch campaigns of both Neverwinter Nights 1 and Neverwinter Nights 2 are awful, but
Oh
nobody
man,
cared.
yeah,
Like there's still tons of people playing with custom modules to this day,
yeah.
and like could have been something like that. It's a pity that it's not.
Yeah. But what you were talking about with like kind of like this game, the fact that like it did not like manage to persist or live long past, like when these games were made and when they were relevant. Yeah, you might be wondering the question is like, is there still like some like small lingering fan base for the Gun Griffin series out there? I can at least say in Japan there absolutely is because there was a fan game made for PC called Hymax Simulator from like some Japanese person that was basically a recreation of like this style of Gun Griffin, like as it looked and played roughly like on the Saturn, like you saw here. And in fact, in the chat, I'm going to post the link right here to kind of show it to like the web page where like
Fantastic, yeah.
you could still download it. It even got like the crazy part too is because I remember playing this like a decade ago or something at the very least, but like in the last update that the person did for it was back in 2017, so it's at least
You okay? Yeah, it is 2017. Never
yeah,
mind.
so it's like you're at least like guaranteed like if you're like on Windows 10 or whatever, like you don't have to worry about it being kind of fucky because it
Man,
was
that
made
is
for like an
cool.
older operating system or something like that. Like it has the manual kind of roughly translated into English, very simple enough. Like you see the screenshots, it looks like what we just played.
Yeah, and the if the the UI appear the UI looks way cleaner. Like
Yeah,
if it handles even remotely like it, that is super cool.
yeah,
That
it's
is super
very
cool.
interesting. And like with my twin stick controller and whatnot, it's like I could probably do some like joy to key mapping stuff or whatever with it. That like I'm honestly tempted to play that again, but with like my Saturn to USB adapter, plug in the twin stick, and like get as
See
many of
what
the
happens.
inputs
Yeah.
mapped to that as possible. That might be. I don't think it would be enough for like to like fill like a bonus stream or anything like that, because it is like it's not like a full game. They call it the High Max Simulator for like a reason, because it's basically like taking like just the exercise kind of mode concept of like the Gungriffon games and just having like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a few missions, some basic AI. It's like the point of checking it out is you want to have that experience of what it's like to pilot a high max again.
It's supposed to be that foundation
Mm-hmm.
that I was talking about. It's a pity that it hasn't gotten more broad acceptance to the point where I didn't hear about it before this stream. But
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. I'm probably gonna at least take a look at it because this sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. It definitely was cool when I played it like all those years ago. It was a short time, but it was very like is really neat to see. It's definitely
Yep.
the sort of thing where I do wish we could get like another mecha game that like does this sort of thing, because it's like we still get Mech Warrior every now and then, but Mech Warrior is going for like a lot more of like a slower and more complex approach to how it does things. Even though you look at the superficial similarities of, okay, it's first person in the cockpit, there is some level of like independently moving the legs and the torsos and all this stuff, but like Gungriffon is a much more immediate game in that regard.
Yep. Yep. All right. Well, I am gonna go find me a little bit of food. But
Yeah.
thanks for having me on, dude. I really appreciate it. Been a great frickin' time.
Yeah, even with the audio issues on OBS that I could not parse until the chat told me, which thanks
Yeah.
everyone for bringing that up, even though it's going to make this VOD seem like extra fucking weird putting it up, but oh well. But yeah. Uh thanks for this week's episode. You're welcome. And next week's we'll be returning to, it might be okay in the VOD. I'm not sure though, because like I briefly interrupted the recording to check the first 10 minutes back when Millennium pointed out that Coolguy's audio wasn't coming through, and like in the recorded video, like I could confirm that it wasn't being recorded. So there might be a situation with this where like the stream VOD that gets like put into the archive is gonna have a lot of audio channels just not working. That's just how it is. But next week, hopefully, we'll not have any of that as we take on the final Armored Core game for the PlayStation 1, the end of first generation AC, Master of Arena. Neff's gonna be back for that one.
Fantastic.
That's gonna be a blast. I am so excited to introduce her to the notoriety, the legacy of Nine Ball.
Fantastic.
All right.
All right, man. You take good care of yourself. We'll talk
Yep.
soon.
Same for everyone out there. Take care.
Bye bye.
Game over.